What's up, you fine folks of the doghouse floating in the sky? This is the Cupid and the Pitbull podcast, and we are going to get into it for episode 7. Like I said yesterday, I uploaded the 6 episodes that I've been working on this last week, and this has not only become an addiction, it's become a quick way to make understanding of the world and the way things are going, not only in my life, but it seems like as people listen and the feedback, which I'd like to share some of it that I got yesterday from my best friend after showing her the 6 episodes. It seems like this is also a way that could potentially help other people to understand the world and the mysteries of the world. Wanted to take a minute and clear up one thing before we do a magic trick. Okay? So after conversing with my best friend who makes me laugh like no other person in the world, but keeps it all the way real with me. After that conversation, I realized that the first 6 episodes that I uploaded may kind of seem all over the place. I think there are stories, and I think some of the confusion I have, and I think some of the rookie, non-veteran storyteller energy is coming out in these first episodes because they're not linear per se. Does that make sense? So, real quick, let's do a magic trick. Okay. Imagine yourself in a room and it's purple. It's a small room, but it's painted all purple. And on one wall, there is a white palette. And in the middle of the floor, there's an expo, black marker. Okay? Now imagine it. Now imagine you're locked in the room. You can't get out, and it's going on like 12 hours. And the door is locked. Nobody came home. You're getting scared. You have a marker. You have a board, a whiteboard, a white palette, and you decide to take it into your own hands. So you look at the door and you look at the lock, and you're patient and you're calculated. You're present, and you're also a little vexed about why you're in the room. So you ask the door, "Door, come to life, so you can speak to me and tell me what you need. Door, come to life, so you can speak to me and tell me what you need to let me out of this motherfucking room. I can't be here all day. You know I can't be here all day. I got things to do." All of a sudden, the door comes to life. Oh, and the thunder and the lightning outside and the commotion. You can hear. It took a lot for the door to come to life so the door may speak. And the door tells you, "I want you to draw with the expo black marker on the white board a vertical line." So you do it. And the door says, "That's beautiful. Now, without turning it into a circle, turn it into a circle." And based off of the tools in the room, you somehow manage to turn it into a circle. The door says, "Beautiful." And it unlocks. And you get to go to the club tonight. For the second time, welcome to the Cupid and the Pitbull podcast. These are getting longer and longer and weirder and funnier and also healthier. The more I do them, the more I wake up and think about them, the more I realize that storytelling is what makes our world go round. I mean, you name it. All the successful careers and people who influence this place that we live and this realm that we find ourselves within. And all the people who prioritize the art of healing for themselves, really, but for others too. We all depend on stories. Everything depends on stories and the way you tell stories. And stories sometimes seem like kind of linear to me. And I guess for them to make sense, they kind of have to be. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. But what if that door actually has a freaking point? Turn that line into continuity. There's nothing new under the sun. Oh, let's get into the magic. Do you feel the magic? It's here. Is your space clear? Have you had your lavender today? What if we could get away from the finality of the linear vibe? And what if we could get into the circular, the cyclical vibe? Because after all, there's nothing new under the sun. So anyways, after kikiing with my good best friend and laughing, basically the feedback of the first episodes is we need more tea. You're not being vulnerable enough. And guess what? I agree. And I think the reason I want to start the podcast, the Cupid and the Pitbull podcast like this, is because the presence of a table of contents is crucial to a book. You got to know what you're getting into, knowing that each chapter, each bullet point, each subject has like 9 stories, or 9 ways to tell it, or 9 perspectives on it. I love the number 9. Shout out to my spiritual mentor, Sagittarius. Apparently I'm a cusp, so I don't know what I am, y'all. Some of my good friends tell me I'm a Scorpio. Others say, no, you are a Sagittarius through and through. And others say you're a cusp. I think I have Scorpio tendencies. They tell me I'm crazy and mean. I accept that. I mean, I've done some pretty crazy shit. And that's where all these stories come from. You know, when I met Lala, we were out in public and we were sitting and we looked at each other and we immediately knew that, here we go. Here go the hippies connecting. You know, they call us hippies. But you know what else they call us? And apparently Lala realized this last night and shared this with Mona and I. And as soon as she said this, Mona was like, oh my goodness. Well, she said, you know what they would call us is they'd call us witches. I want to get away from this understanding we have as a culture, specifically black people, of what a witch is. I want to get away from the fantasy cartoon, witches. Even though, you know, I have learned how to cackle. But we're basically defined that way because of deeper things we know how to do. And I know it's a bit unorthodox, especially in my position, to speak openly about this, but here at the Cupid and the Pitbull podcast, I've got to start being more honest about things. more vulnerable. Shout out to you, best friend. So that's just an aside. I mean, I don't practice Wiccan or I don't know. I don't know any about none of that stuff. As a matter of fact, I'm a preacher's boy. And I love being a preacher's boy. And I don't, that's not a part of my lexicon. However, I do know that I've met a few great folks who are into that practice, and we've talked about some of their pain. Whatever your path, you're searching for something to be able to control. And again, this goes back to a couple different concepts we've already covered. What is your practice? How is it working to make the world better and to put you on your healing journey? Now, other thing I want to say is never trying to be up here on a soapbox talking down to anybody, because I don't like when people talk down to me about nothing. I'm just telling you what my perspective is and how it weaves into the story that you are now involved in. The series of stories, the chapters. Does that make sense? So, what Lala is saying is that there's magnetism and there's alignment and there's a certain kind of thing going on in some of us. And we connect with each other. And we fix the world. And we fix each other. And we help each other. That's what we do. So when I first met Lala, right? We're out in public. We're sitting there. We make eye contact. We can't wait to get into what we are going to be. And we don't know what we're going to be yet. But I'll tell you one thing. It feels pretty powerful. She shared a stone with Mona and I last night. I forget the name of the stone. But that's when she realized we would probably be persecuted back in the day. Burned at the stake. You can miss me with that. Tie me up, burn me, and guess what? I'll fall back down as the rain catches the smoke. So anyways, we're chilling. We realize we like each other. All of a sudden, a fight breaks out. And it's between a white woman and a black woman. Now, we're in a public space, and nobody is breaking up this fight. And I can clearly see rage in both of their eyes. But honestly, my priority in that moment, before everything toppled down, was to go directly into the fire. And Lala watched. I went, and the black girl was whooping the white girl's ass. Ooh! And right as she went in to stomp her head on the concrete, I was like, hold on, baby. Let me take your hand and pull you away from this. And luckily, others followed my lead, because then, of course, the white girl got up and was about to come and try to set it off on her. Again, right after she was about to get stomped. But luckily, somebody took the lead, took her out of the space. But the biggest part of this story is I could have just left the situation. But there's something called post-traumatic stress. Post-trauma. I took the black girl's hand, and then I took her other hand, and I looked at her in her eye. And I said, I know. And I said, now let it out. Oh, and there were no tears until I said the words. Baby, let it out. And don't you dare take it with you. let it out right now. And she did. And what came out in that moment, I don't know what the girls were fighting about. All the girls be fighting, and the boys. And some of the boys against the girls, and some of the girls against the boys. I mean, everyone's fighting. Everyone has a reason to fight right now. We're all fighting. But what I was feeling in her hands, it wasn't about her conflict with that specific woman. It was about something deeper. There was a deep pain. There was something that wasn't my responsibility to define in that moment, but it needed to come out. And so I took it, and she cried. And I took more of it, and I grabbed her hands tighter. She cried more. By this time, the whole venue is over here looking at me like, what is he doing? But specifically Lala stands up, turns around, and leaves. So I finished my job. I gave her a hug. And I said, next time, and hopefully there won't be a next time. But next time, immediately find one of us. As I listened back to the initial episodes, and it was just a heavy lift to listen back to all of them, edit them, upload the music, get these things together so they're feeling cohesive. But as I did that, and now on this 7th episode, I think I want to have this moment of clarity. These stories are not meant to be linear. But the awe of the Cupid and the Pitbull podcast is meant to be one big story. The stories that we're getting ready to experience are informed by the stories of our past. And the stories of our past were designed to inform the stories that approach. They call me crazy, y'all. They can call me whatever they want. These stories are powerful, and so are yours. So I'm doing this for me. We laughed so hard yesterday because, my best friend, she be calling me out. She be like, you're scared. You're scared to really get into it. And I kind of am. Now that I'm really seeing what it could be and what it is and I kind of do have some fear. But guess what? The past has happened, and so will the future. No need to be ashamed. Every need to celebrate. And that's why I'm so excited about the Cupid and the Pitbull podcast. I'm gonna move at my pace, but trust, if the tea is what you're looking for, it's steeping. Girls, let's get into it. Okay, also I had a couple ideas. So the music that you're hearing is all mine. They're full songs. They're ready to just be sent and celebrated. And I love them. I love being a musician. I got to record with Lala last night. She's kind of like this Erica vibe, but there's something. I'm trying to put my finger on it. I'm not going to rush it. But what I want to do is two things. First thing is really reiterate the fact that I want this to not just be my voice or my stories. Not only do our pasts inform our futures, but your past informs my present. My aspirations inform the understanding of your past, and all of that hoopla and hullabaloo. I want other voices on this podcast, and I want the tea. I want the stories, the deep ones, and I already got a couple ideas of who the first guests are going to be. If you'd like to be a guest, all the information you need is in the description. The second thing is, if you like the music, all the information you need is in the description. And in these first earlier episodes, I just want to send off the music just as kind of a token of my gratitude for you coming on this journey with me and listening and spreading and all of that jazz. Okay, bye.